I would encourage people when you see the darkness, which is very real and can be overwhelming, to always remember Jesus Christ is light from light, as we say in the Creed. He is light itself.
There's a lot of Catholics that are growing in grave concern about the times we live in. I find more and more average Catholics conversating about the great apostasy, the Antichrist, the tribulation, 3 days of darkness, and there's growing confusion even on those subjects, but it's becoming more commonplace. In spite of all that goes on at the Vatican or the world around us, what do you tell the average Catholic? What should they be doing? How greatly concerned ought they to be, but more importantly, what should they be doing?
We need to go deeper. We need to be stronger. So I'm glad that people are waking up. It is a crisis. And I think complacency is one of the ways that I've seen right in the Diocese of Tyler. People need to awaken to the struggle that we're in. And the complacency, I think, tends to leave people silent, not speaking up, as some of our great panelists have already mentioned. We need to speak up. Many are with me, and many of the non-Catholics thank me for speaking up. They look to the Catholic Church, and I think that's part of the crisis we're in. The global crisis, the violence and wars that seem to be coming from everywhere, in the time when the church doesn't have a strong voice. The voice of the church is compromised, and there's an active effort to compromise the church. Joe, many people have asked me, what do we do? And it sounds like a simplistic answer, but as has already been mentioned here, the depth of the mystery of the Son of God incarnate among us, Jesus Christ. It's not simplistic to say, go to Jesus. Look to Jesus Christ. I mean, I could say just very personally, with all the chaos, it's like, what do we really believe? It's helped me to just go back to the basics of what Christ has said. And he made it clear, as Cardinal Mueller pointed out. What did Jesus say about salvation? He said it's a narrow road. He said the path to perdition and damnation is wide. Many saints have echoed that. I think of St. Faustina, her own images. But listen to Christ. It's not complicated. He was a master of clarity in telling us deep truths in ways that were not ambiguous and confusing. Christ is clear. The tough part is really listening to him. So I say to myself, that's my strength of going to him, praying and kneeling in his presence. He'll talk to you. I've never heard an allocution in that sense, but he speaks to our hearts and makes them burn more deeply with his truth. As has already been mentioned, the revealed truth that is Jesus Christ, truth personified, is the truth that guides us. All the scientific knowledge, all the theories, all of it falls to ashes in comparison to the wonder of truth that Jesus Christ has revealed to us. And I would say especially in my own prayer recently, with all the ashes, we can say, our resurrected Lord. That's why I was drawn to the Emmaus story, because that is our risen Lord. He's not just a resuscitated human being. He is fully shining forth as the God-man, as God incarnate in our flesh, but risen after having died for us. That is what we've got to drill down into as deeply as we can. And the more we do that, he's the answer.
Much negative news today, so much difficulty in the Vatican or overseas or in our own life, finances, everything else. How do we grow in intimacy in dark days?
Well, Joe, I think it's about It's the same answer I always give, knowing Christ more deeply, but through the scriptures, through the sacraments, really, truly knowing Christ more deeply. As you ask the question, I'm reminded, as he is ascending, we're told the apostles believed, but they doubted all at the same time. They feared and they doubted. It's natural to us to have questions, to have concerns, but look to his light. And I guess that's the image that I would encourage people to keep turning to, because we have those images throughout Scripture, Old Testament, New Testament, in the Gospels, light and darkness. I mean, what does God do in Genesis? He separates the darkness and the light. That is how we're wired to see that contrast between darkness and light. I would encourage people, when you see the darkness, which is very real and can be overwhelming, to always remember Jesus Christ is light from light, as we say in the Creed. He is light itself. The resurrection is a powerful image of light bursting forth in a brand new way, his risen body, the new life that he offers us. So I would encourage us to turn to that image when the darkness is real, it's palpable, it can burden people, it destroys lives. People go into despair and literally destroy their lives. But rather than wallowing in the darkness, let's always remember, when we see the darkness, turn to the light, and that is Jesus Christ. Turn to the images of him in Scripture. Turn to his resurrection and ascension. I love to reflect on the mysteries of the Rosary. We have the luminous mysteries, but there's so many others beyond the luminous where Christ's light shines forth. When he's baptized, the clouds open, the light shines forth. St. Paul, it's light that knocks him down. I think that we need to hang on to the light and share that with each other. Be strong in light in the midst of real darkness. I guess that's the final point that I would make. I've said it a couple of times already. But not to pretend the darkness isn't real or try to explain it away. Face it head on, but look through the darkness to the light of Christ. God bless you.
Perfect. Amazing, Your Excellency. God bless you, friends. Praise be to God.